Well, good evening, folks. Here we are just now tuning in to hear President Trump's fourth annual State of the Union speech in 2029. And do pardon my French. As a true English speaker, it is beneath me to imitate your bedangled American twang. So let me just voice cast this as a senile British old person I actually am. Folks, did I tell you about that time I grabbed the Queen by the royal finger reader? It rendered her more blushed than I thought that old hag had blood left in her. I didn't think she'd have an actual heartbeat to pump all that blood to her cheeks. Isn't the Queen Elizabeth a tremendous old hag? But she was too old for the job. You wouldn't believe I'm 82, would you, folks? They say I ramble, but I got to share my fountain of youth. Vladimir Epstein? What a moral dwarf of man. I turned to Vladimir Vladimirovich for help with the ladies as Epstein got caught. Vladimir has been active in the youth business ever since he was rather young himself. In 2006, his beans were spilled by that Alexander Litvinenko chap. So Vladimir is grown into a quite connoisseur of the fountain of youth. So I stayed young by visiting Epstein Island, and now I just visit Putin's secret mansion hidden in the Russian forest. He's probably richer than Bill Gates, you know. He stole it all from the Russian people. And my boy Steve Bannon had a secret meeting with Epstein to convince Epstein to fug it all about those, what you call them, safe box storage photographs of me with his underage chicks on his island. Oh boy, I forgot my Alzheimer meds. I didn't mean to say all that, I didn't mean to, but hey, you smucks didn't take me seriously, did you? You'd be fools to use an 82-year-old man's own words against him. Vladimir, dorogoy moa Vladimirovich, ja nie skazal ni slova, ja unesu tvoju tajnu v mogilu, ne zakem toropit proces umilenia. Cut it off. And there you have it, folks. The supreme master of golf that is this interclucking, bell-tearing supreme golden colonel of these United States has spoken. Oh, what a master orator we have in the Trump, the orange orangutan who is quite a humputan in the harem of Kim Jong-un. Trumpster, my humpster little rocket man calls him. You see, Trump studied under a closeted homosexual cutthroat Jewish capitalist of the McCarthy era. He got even the Amish to vote. And the Amish are known for never voting and not opening up about their political views. And now even the horse buggy riding, electricity shunning Amish and Mennonites are giving electronic interviews on how they had to come out and vote for Trump, as the Democrats are just too liberal and way too into regulatory systems they are. Well, they've got that one right. There was only one gender when I was born, at least the only one that counted. I personally think we have to go as far back as allowing only the men to vote. The golden time before all that liberalism and homo-humanism are the silver ribbon of time that is the mighty Colorado River and the alligator-dense mudslide that the Mississippi Delta, the cicadas deep-fried that is the golden kernel of mother-clocking Trump shrimp nugget. Fug it about it, just think of grabbing all the women by the pussy back in the day and they could do none about it. They needed to bribe gunslingers if they wanted their vengeance. The Pinkerton boys were of no help back then, too busy barring the Injuns from saloons. Yee-haw! Bring in the good times way back when America was graping all the pussies we wanted. Now let us go do coke and drool over our daughters, just like the great shark coke tank hosting man once taught us. Now let's have a serious chat, you non-voting twats. Zero liberal tears, we are the resistance. And you know what? I'm glad Trump won. We would have had a civil war in our hands had he not won. There is no better way to let MAGA voters realize they have been had than having their dictator turn weirder and weirder day by day in front of their very own eyes. Trump will do damage to the country and to Ukraine and to Palestinians, but he would have ruined America, as we know, had he not been elected. No way his voters would have calmly watched by as he ramps up his rhetoric about the steal. There is no better way to expose rotten tomatoes and sociopaths alike than by letting them think they are invincible. Then they get overly cocky and forget to hide their true pedophilic colours. We might even hear Trump dementedly ramble on about his Epstein escorts during his fourth year of office when he will be 82. This wannabe dictator cannot certainly hold on to power longer than 4 years, even if he became a real dictator, the likes of Mussolini and Pol Pot. And by all means, stay tuned as I ramble on about my own misogynistic fears about a certain female leader of twat of a country. in case you already got hooked on my voice, that is. The upper-class, ivory, towering, vocal, swallowing raping of the Queen's language that is my golden voice. The lush, balmy, tropical paradise that is Alaska, the tranquil, yogically peaceful shores of Florida during spring break, the ever-thick green pine cone forests and bountiful bodies of water that cover Arizona's landscape, the delightful, ever-evolving complexity that is the modern political rhetoric of mutually moronic turd-tossing, the crumbling of very American asphalt that is under its mega-sized heart-stopper triple cheeseburger-chucking mother-clockers of Trump chumps, the gosh darn beautiful symphony of folks getting along just fine that's Ku Klux Klan magic wizard meeting, the ever-changing mural of values and reptilian spinal flexibility that is the Republican Party's platform, the widening chasm of excess that is the American people's relationship with finger-licking fast food, the Haitian-owned Kansas fried cat, KFC copycat that is pussy-licking good. But feck me sideways if I ain't, how to put it, squeezed tight between a wet ladies' Netherlands and the wetlands of a tribalistic bunch of heathens inhabiting Van Helsing's fours. You see, my dear chatty chap of a Neanderthal, nestled in between 300,000 lakes are found a few patches of poorly asphalted swampland that, for reasons beyond me and my British shepherd's pie-clogged brain, repeatedly ranks as the happiest nation on earth. We are here in the fine land of Finland to find out why. One of the worldwide renowned symbols of these bug-infested wetlands is its former dancing Prime Minister, Sanna Marin, who caused a tremendous ruckus during the years of the vagina virus pandemic by saying,
"Amidst these dark, ominously low-hanging dark clouds of COVID, I just wanted to have some fun. So what if I got sloshed off my feet and couldn't answer a work call as the head of an entire nation and tipsily tiptoed to several nightclubs despite having tested positive for COVID? At least I didn't take drugs. And just because in a wild party video of myself, two women are overheard shouting to each other, 'Wow, this stuff feels amazingly good,' it doesn't have to be a reference to drugs being served in my private VIP after party. Just because I was filmed with blazing dazed eyes jumping up and down in a wild cocaine-fueled frenzy shouting, 'The powder posse rules, the blow brigade inhales, the nose candy clique dominates, the cocaine crew is here, the nostril cloggers, the pale posse, the vampire snow imbibing succubi.' In that rather unfortunate video that is the wrinkle of my brow and the very root cause of why during the 4 years of my reign, my jaw suddenly went slack. Idest prolonged itself more than, ladies, I only wish knobs extended themselves in equal equine measure in times of feminine service. So what if I shouted powder posse rules on camera? Powder doesn't have to refer to the kinky K powder. And I did do a drug test, though I did it so late that even a mountain of blow wouldn't have shown in that urine sample I gave to our familiar family doctor. Drugs are very, very bad. Besides only one of them that is a bottle's worth of neurotoxic substance that caused my brain cells drop like flies, that is the national Finnish state potato liquor. Of course, said my K-horse. And that's why in this very fine land of Finland, we openly admit to torturing our brave wounded servicemen with a complete lack of access to even 1% THC potent herbal remedy. The fine land of Finland only allows the white-coated man's ongoing colonialism over indigenous shamanistic medicines such as the wacky tobacco. Likewise, every single one of our amputated citizens is denied proper pain relief. We don't allow the hemp flower even on terminal wards where patients have only weeks to live. Happiest country on earth in my wet twat. And so what if I did rub that very twat of mine against an unknown soldier's leg while being the leader of an entire nation? It's not like a male prime minister wouldn't have been allowed to pull the same move on an unsuspecting by-dancer. You know, should rubbity twats be thought of as grinding dingai? Just to torture them further, to comply with the EU policies, we do keep a variety of 22% THC cannabis, dubbed the bedrockin, on the shelves of our pharmacies, yet not a single amputated citizen is allowed it for pain medication. You see, it is our moral duty to protect our people from the evils of ungodly hemp flower. This is the Finnish land of the finished people. We don't indeed grow no weed in Muskogee, Finland. Just to broaden our horizons of torture, we took in a myriad of refugees from Muslim countries such as Iraq and Somalia, where the people don't slurp much alcohol, but of course are human like the rest of us and seek some form of release during weekends. So, we have invented the perfect torture mechanism for them, as well as for the amputated soldiers and other tossers. We make sure these poor refugees without any money on them don't ever get to earn a salary in the fine land of Finland. We slab a sticker on their foreheads that reads criminal in capital letters.
Quite indeed, according to Finnish law, a pedestrian caught with the possession of even the slightest crumble of cannabis is marked unfit for work for the next 5 years. And I do mean any work. Just to clean toilets at a gas station requires a criminal background check. Just answering the phone in your run-of-the-mill customer service job is forbidden. Just a job peddling food home deliveries to customers is forbidden due to laws concerning sensitive information, such as people's address info that needs to be protected from the clearly criminally minded cannabis tokers and bong gurglers alike. You see, not only does Finland protect its fine Finnish folk from the dangers and perils of the innocent hemp flower, it also prevents people from virtually ever working again. People whose only crime in life is having tarred their very own lungs with hemp vapor, be it just once during their college days in a frat house, are rendered completely unemployable, that's for sure. Such a nice thing to do to the African Finnish population as well. You see, a vast majority are Somali Muslims who are forbidden to get drunk, but not forbidden to get higher by the godlier of laws. Chronic unemployment will soon finish off any college student who even once dares to try cannabis. To top it all off, like icing on a velvety white widow-infused cake, one loses one's driver's license in Finland despite never having driven under the influence. Just smoking on one's balcony on a Sunday after diligent church attendance means one loses one's Finnish driver's license. One never gets it back, unless one submits and passes a year of drug testing. One fails the entire year's worth of testing, should one just once fail to appear in a randomly summoned drug test due to having travelled within the country to see relatives. We went and sought out to see are there any validity to these claims. We booked an appointment with the May Bay Hospital in the capital of Finland, von Helsingfors, and asked the good doctor for a prescription of medical cannabis for severe nerve pain. And just like that, without even a word's worth of inquiry into the cause of the aforementioned chronic nerve pain, or for that matter completely without prying into our medical history from the respectable tiny royal island of Fog, but not Bog, mind you, a tremendously important distinction of sophistication, I must remind. And yet the doctor flat out stated, and I quote her now, she stated this verbatim, "I don't know of a single doctor in the country who could write a prescription for cannabis," and added, "We certainly don't do it here in the capital, but I could provide you with contact information on how to quit abusing drugs." And she said this to my aristocratic, elderly, well-dressed face. So I buggered off without ever asking to pay her whack doctor's fee. Anywho, during the last election, Sanna Marin pulled out a lock of her hair during a campaign interview and said, "Test that for drugs?" She, of course, royally lost that election and fled the country with a tail between her legs. What a twat indeed. Do not hesitate to hover around the like button and possibly even consider unsubscribing to curb our effort for not penalising and criminalising the honestly and unfakeably amputated for merely seeking pain relief in cannabis worldwide. It's a wrap, twats. Now don't be such cunts and go fetch me some of that wacky tobacco. I want to see what this peach fuzz is all about. Oh, buggery old me. I almost forgot an entire chapter's worth of yuppie yap. The most ironic thing about this utterly racist cannabis policy the fine land of Finland has adopted from old-timey America is the fact that 90% of Finland is composed of population who either speak one of the three indigenous native European tongues of Skolt Sami, Northern Mountain Sami, or Inari Sami, or alternatively speak Finnish, a language that is not much farther than a dialectical stone's cast away from the indigenous native European language of Inari Samis. In all its racism, even America never ever banned the smoking and growing of cannabis from any of its indigenous nations we British like to call the real Americans. As a cherry on the top, the Finnish population is not only linguistically closely related to the indigenous native Europeans, but also share a DNA indistinguishable from the Sami DNA, unlike any other nations. What they all share is a deep-rooted love for their nature and sweat lodges they call saunas. Sauna and Nokia are in fact the only Finnish words that made itself outside Finland. Yet alcohol remains legal in this boggy reservation of a country, and cannabis unattainable by legal means no matter how sick and dying you may be. You shall be protected from the safest drug in the world, cannabis, that America has declassified belonging to the same not dangerous category of drugs as melatonin and other sleeping aids. Instead of making America great again, what say we make Sanna Marin, Sanna Marinen? Marinen, of course, being the Finnish word for being under the influence of cannabis. This irony is a stark reminder of how policies can be out of touch with cultural and historical realities.
This has been a Two Flies with One Firm Smack campaign ad. If you don't mind the amputated getting access to legal medical cannabis, don't forget to leave a like and tappity-tap the living daylight out of that subscribe button.